Welcome to another episode of the Trias Talk. My name is Abe Flores from Lagos, Nigeria. Today, 29th of May 2026, I'm going to be enlightening us concerning the market generally. So, creating wealth is intentional, and if you want to create wealth, knowledge is important. Having the right knowledge, having the right skills to understand and to pick the right investment is as important as anything else. So this morning I'll be sharing us some of the insights that we need to, the right knowledge that we need to acquire as far as investing is concerned. First of all, I will let us to understand that there are several financial institutions and several financial instruments that we have all over the whole world. You can decide to be, choose your investments, maybe via real estate, paper assets, or depending on what you want to do. But as far as finance is concerned, there are several financial markets that you can actually choose from. And people say Forex, and not just Forex, there are several financial assets. We have the cryptocurrency market, we have the commodity market, we have the stock market, we have several synthetic indices markets, we have the bond market, we have the stock indices market, so which is basket of stocks. So having the right knowledge to pick the right investment is as important as anything in this world. So I'll be sharing some knowledge with us so that we can make the right decisions while picking an investment. So it's no news that the USA stock market is worth over $77 trillion, and which make it the largest market in the whole wide world, followed by the Chinese market, so which has $15 trillion as their market capitalization. Then Japan, which also has $8.7 trillion. Likewise, the UK stock market, that's the London stock market, which entails like $4 trillion. Then the European Union market, which is $13.8 trillion. So there are major indices, stock indices, that people can take advantage of. Before you before you invest in a particular country, you need to understand their GDP and also the debt rate of that country. So America, being the largest economy in the whole world, has a GDP of $31.4 trillion, and as a result of this, you notice that the stock market's capitalization is higher than the total GDP of United States of America. So it's for me, it's a good thing, because it means that several people all over the whole world have belief in the US stock market due to the innovations that they usually bring into the world. You will notice that America usually they are on the forefront of the AI boom. Also, any development or technological development that's going to be happening all over the whole wide world usually begins from America and China. So that's one of the reasons why they are at the forefront of the technological boom, and people actually rely, not just people, investors, countries, companies all over the whole world have believed in this market. So despite the fact that the debt rate of America is over $39 trillion, people still have belief in their stock market. Their stock market is way more bigger in capitalization than the total GDP of America. Meanwhile, the same thing applicable to China. Their GDP is $20 trillion, $20.9 trillion, higher than the stock market. So making the right decisions to invest in countries like this is going to give us high returns. So looking at this, if you want to invest in the stock market, the US stock market, there is a major 500 top companies, largest company in America, which we call the US 500, which we can actually call the SPX 500. So what do they do? These are the top largest 500 companies in America, where people can invest or buy stocks forever. These stocks have been existing for years now, and don't forget that we have the DX, we have the Nasdaq, which is the top tech 100 companies in America. We have the Dow Jones, which is the US 30, the largest 30 company in Wall Street. So, but the major indices that people usually subscribe to or invest in is the SPX 500, which measures the total basket of the largest 500 companies in America. So you can take advantage of that. Now, likewise, if you want to invest in the Chinese stock market, we have the CSI 300. Okay, and if you want to invest in the Japan, stock market, we call it the Nikkei 225. If you want to invest in the London stock market, we have the FTSE 100. These are the ticker symbol. So, and one thing about investment is this: you can buy it, you can trade it or buy it forever, or own it. You can own it in a traditional way, or probably you can trade it. So depending on depending on the type of investment you have. If you're a long-term investment, which I advise, you can always be a long-term investor, means that you need to hold like SPX 500, and this is a basket of indices. But normally, if I want to advise, there are several markets that you can pick individually, several stocks that you can pick individually. If you want to go by individual basis, the likes of Nvidia, the likes of the Tesla, the likes of Amazon, the likes of the Meta, the likes of Alphabet, the likes of several companies in America that I can recommend that you can actually subscribe to. So, and it's important that we have the Federal Reserve that is having they bring out metrics or indicators that controls the entire economy in America. So we call them the Federal Reserve. And likewise, because you need to get in, you need to understand and monitor the information that comes from their central banks, because that can actually when it comes to interest rate increase or interest rate decrease, that is what the central banks of this countries does, like the Bank of Japan, the People's Bank of China, the Federal Reserve in America, the Bank of England, and the European Central Bank. Moving forward, you can also diversify your portfolio, meaning that you don't just go into, if you have, for instance, you have a pet of $1,000, diversify your portfolio into indices and stock indices and stock markets directly. And picking, and in fact, there are some companies that you need to own forever, like the Nvidia. Looking at the Nvidia, for instance, now, Nvidia did more than 85% of the for every of their investors. Nvidia did more than 85% this year. So that means that if you have a stock in Nvidia, you are likely getting more than 85% of the amount of money you are putting in. Even the President of America has different portfolio. He has stocks in Visa, he has stock in MasterCard, in Nvidia, he has 10%, in Tesla, in Apple, in Goldman Sachs, which is a bank in America, BlackRock, which is an hedge fund in America, Qualcomm, has Intel, Dell. He diversifies portfolio into separate stocks. Even if one stock is having an issue, it's not going to affect another, because don't forget that every stock is every company, different companies rather. So even if a particular part of the company, like for instance, let's assume that Tesla is having difficult challenge in what they call it in their earnings, it's not going to affect Nvidia. And though they are both tech companies, you can diversify your portfolio to maybe finance, which is Goldman Sachs, or diversify your portfolio to software. Different types of diversification that you can do in order to protect your investment. So also BlackRock, which is a major hedge fund in America, look at the way they diversify their portfolio. Even companies buy companies, they buy shares of another company. BlackRock is a company on its own, though they are hedge funds, but they have shares in Nvidia, they have shares in Apple, they have shares in Microsoft, they have shares in Amazon, in Google, they have shares in Broadcom and Meta. So it's important that you understand all these things so that you can actually protect your investment. Elon Musk, as being the richest man in the world, also has diversification of portfolios in different investments. In his companies, he has like 8 companies, and meaning that he even diversify into Bitcoin. You understand? That is the only way you can be much more wealthy. That's his one. Even Warren Buffett also has a portfolio of investment that even if there's going to be any challenge in one company, he will already use the other company to substitute for any mistakes that has happened in a particular company. For instance, if Goldman Sachs is not giving earnings for the year, he's going to diversify into, because he has diversified already, another part of the sector is going to cover it for that, as the case may be. So that is what I want to share as far as diversification of portfolio is concerned. So some of the metrics you need to look out for in order before you can invest or make investment decision. You need to look out for the GDP, which is the growth rate. You need to look out for the labor force, unemployment rate of that country that you want to invest in, and also the traders are buying. You need to look at, some people are long-term traders, some are short-term traders. So you want to look at what every banks are doing and every hedge fund, because don't forget that every hedge funds, they manage portfolio for high net worth individuals. So before they can do this, they have to go to the bank to lodge a check or whatever. So those banks usually see what they are buying at the back end. So they too decide to always go forth for what they do, and that is why it's showing, we call it commitment of traders, showing the sentiment of what people are buying at the back end. You can always subscribe to that. There's a particular platform where you can always get this sentimental report of every investment that is happening, be it in America, be it in any country in the world. You can always get that, and you're going to be seeing traders that are online that you can actually communicate with or make friends with, such that you can actually get the information, the required information to get the right result. So I think that is all for now. I'm going to be seeing you guys in another episode. Alright, take care. Bye.